Hi there, it's Carl Irwin, the Common Magician, and I've got something interesting to show you. I've got a deck of cards here. What I want you to do is go ahead and take a look. Just think of anyone that you see. You see a card in your mind, you have it in your head. Now I want you to think of that card. Just think about it, picture it, everything about it in your head. Go ahead, tell me what was the card that you're thinking of. And again, any card is possible, don't forget. Any card at all. Could have been any one of 52. You're just one that you have in your head. What was the one you're thinking of? The Four of Diamonds? Four of Diamonds, that's interesting. Take a look here. I want you to reach out. Put your finger on the deck. Finger on the deck, and I want you to press. Press hard, press firm. And hopefully this will work the way we want it to. If we do it right, you'll see that through the deck, through the table, goes one card only. Right there, one card. Take a look in here. You were thinking of, what was that card again? The Four of Diamonds? Nowhere to be seen. Four of Diamonds. So this is one more discussion related to free agency in choice. There may be more to say in this kind of ongoing series about free agency of choice and free agency of revelation. But I think we're kind of running thin on much more to say about free thought of cards with a shuffled deck, at least as far as this kind of magic goes. We looked at the Al-Quran Classic Force was where all of this started. And the Al-Quran Classic Force is to you have the deck shuffled, and rather than have someone pick a card out, you merely give a card out, right? And then we translated this into a visual force. The same idea here is that you can show the cards shuffled, and then you show a card that is remembered, and you show to one person. Others can't see that. They just see what appears to be somewhat of a spread in the hand, but you hold it up and you say, you see a card, you see it in your head, think about the card, and then you can control that card. So this is the Al-Quran Classic Force, which is not really a classic force at all. We're merely giving the card, and we're able to do this because the deck's been shuffled. If the deck has been shuffled by the spectator, or it's obviously mixed up, you have the license really just to give a card out because you can't know anything about the condition of the deck. That gives you that opportunity. Now, if you were doing all the shuffling and then you gave a card out, that would be somewhat suspicious. It really kind of depends on that relinquishing of control and then being able to pull that off. So that's where this started. So we're looking at kind of a sight force of a single card using that premise. And then we looked at a force of a bank of cards. And this was a bank of 3 cards, and then a revelation that could be off of that, where you have a tiered revelation. They would think of a card that they see from a group. You control those cards, you keep them off, you control them, and then you have a tiered revelation so that each one of them could pay off as the reveal. We looked at that. We also looked at, briefly, we talked about searching for a named card before just taking the card out of the deck and using it as a named card for a named card trick. But taking small opportunities with cards that are available. It might be a small spread at the bottom and just seeing if something hits. For example, if they said 5 of Hearts, right? Taking that quick spread on the bottom just to see if it shows up, and if it's not there, then you take it out of the deck and you work with that card having been named. If it is there, you have an opportunity for control, right? That led to a discussion in larger banks, larger than a 3-card bank that has a tiered revelation, but rather having something like a 6-card bank where you know what the cards are. You already know what they are. They've been set there ahead of time, or they've been called into position. but you know what the options are that they're looking at, and then controlling them so that you can give yourself a more hands-off kind of situation, right? They see the card, you set the cards down, and you know 3 on one side of the deck, 3 on the other side of the deck. It's got to be one of those 6, and you know how to get to it to do the revelation. We talked about that as well. We've talked about these various kinds of banks, right? So small bank, slightly larger bank, and in most of these cases we're dealing with known values, right? So you know what's there, you know what you're working with. I'm going to take one more look at this. We're going to take a step back and go back to the opportunity point again, that if a card is freely named, you do have an opportunity potentially to see it. Again, 5 of hearts, do I see it? Yes, I do, it's right there. Okay, so I can get control just in small opportunity. This opportunity can also play out naturally from a shuffled deck, from showing cards from the middle, not showing the top, but from the middle. This is how this might play out. Cards are shuffled. You take the cards, cover the indices across the top with both hands, and spread until you have 3, 4, 5 cards that are showing. And they get the picture here that they have free selection from this spread, right? So, for example, they're looking at this and they might say 7 of spades is the card that they want. Now, they can see in this situation this card, right, which is the 3 of clubs, 7 of spades, 2 of diamonds, 6 of hearts, 9 of spades. That's pretty much what the limitation is, but they're thinking 7 of spades. I've got about 5 cards there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close my spread, but I'm going to hold a break over, or rather under, the last card on the bottom of the available card. So this one right here, I'm going to close and get my pinky in underneath that one. Now I'm set to control this packet of unknown cards. I don't know what they are, but I know that it's a small bank and I know it's at the bottom, right? I'm now set to control this. As soon as I close one control, the one I used there was just a shift, right? Just a pass. This is sort of a Herman pass. You tilt forward on the upper part of the deck as you push down on the bottom part of the deck, and then square on the table. Very, very popular kind of variation on the Herman pass, and it gives a lot of good cover. Does it matter if people see you do it? Not really, not for what we're doing. You really could just cut the cards. It doesn't really matter, right? Coming out of that situation. They've had a free choice. Fluidly, you come back and you pass it to the bottom, or cut it. Just cut it openly, right? Bring it back, cut to the table, do whatever. But now you have a situation where you have a known bank. This is a little different from what we were talking about with a named card and then taking small opportunity to potentially find it. Now I'm taking a small opportunity that's become a complete opportunity, because I know that the card they name is going to be in the small spread that I have at the bottom. But I don't even need to spread. I don't even need to do that. What I can employ here is a miscall tactic. It's sort of a miscall tactic. It's actually a mishearing tactic, right? I say, you're picturing it in your mind, you can actually see it there, and then I upturn the deck to do a face-up overhand shuffle, running cards one at a time. And I glance down to look at the bottom. I know it's going to be one of the first 5 that I see. It's probably not going to be the first one, and it may not be the next one. In our case it is. It's the one I called out. But probably not one of the first 2 or 3. It's probably going to be more central. That's just probability. But you have the ability to take any one of these 5 or 6 cards, right? You don't even have to know how many cards you showed. You just need to know that it's going to be in this track of cards, right? They name it. You say, go ahead and name the card. And as they name the card and you hear it, interrupt. Okay, now this is something I can't emulate on the video, but as they name it, immediately interrupt so that you do hear what they say, but you're interrupting with more dialogue as if you don't, right? And the phrase that you can use is, and remember, it could have been any card, any one of 52. Now, they've named it immediately as they name it, and I interrupt with my line. And remember, it could be any card, any one of 52. I run the cards until I see the one that I just heard. Now I've got the card on the bottom, and I'm ready to do whatever revelation I want. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I take the cards back into kind of an upward biddle grip, and I can push the card forward to get a break under it and do a cop. So now I've copped the 7 of spades. I'm now in this situation, and I say, what was the card that you were thinking of? As if I haven't heard. I just interrupted them. I potentially didn't hear. This is kind of the miscall, the miscall tactic, but it's a mishearing tactic, right? If you were really to miscall it, you could actually name something incorrect. You said the jack of whatever, right? I think it's better to just act like you didn't hear, right? And what card was it that you mentioned? I'm free and clear now. They're going to say 7 of spades, which I already know. And at this point, I'm setting the deck down. That's a very powerful kind of situation to be in, right? They saw something freely from the middle. They have a selected recollection of what they've seen. They only remember what they saw, and they remember that they could have seen many, potentially, right, from the spread. Could have been, as far as they're concerned, one of any of the cards in the spread. They don't have a recollection of that. They only remember that they saw one among several, right? That's in their mind. They know that they saw one from the middle. They know that the deck is now sitting here at the moment that they call it out. Very, very powerful kind of use of the miscall sort of premise. Right now, I'm just dumping the card into my lap, and then I can gesture openly, and then you can go off from there. You're off to the races at this point. You can bring the card out any way you want. In the example here, I have them push their finger down on the deck, and I say, press really hard. And if we do this right, we might see, it just flashed here, but we might see the card come through the table, bring it out, set it out there, spread, can't find it, 7 of spades. Okay, so just an idea there that when we're talking about using the potential for a small opportunity to find something that is freely named, really a freely named card that could have been any card in the deck. Again, just to illustrate, see what we get. 5 of hearts, 5 of hearts, right? So you have that, you have those small opportunities to be able to catch a card without having to spread everything out and search and search and search for it. Knowing that we can get lucky, why not just make yourself certain rather than lucky? Small bank, think of a card, 5 of hearts, right? I close the spread, break underneath the furthest card to the bottom that they can see. I know that my finger's covering the index of the remaining packet, so whatever card is hanging off the end, right? That is the one that I'm breaking under. It's a really natural position to have your pinky in. Close it up. You can go into your pass or whatever, or your cut, whatever you want to do. On this pass, someone out there will criticize my use of this pass, right? I don't care. I show on this pass, I close, and you can tilt forward and you can just rotate it in the hands and square up. That's another way to treat what is sometimes known as the tap pass, table tap pass. Again, the table tap pass is that Herman pass, tilt forward, turn from the back view, tilt forward, turn over the bottom part. I have my finger underneath, turn over the bottom packet, and then you bring back the top packet to sit underneath as you tap all of them on the table. In the hands, this looks like this. Tilt forward, turn down, and you turn the deck over and square it. It's got a lot of coverage. I'm giving you the worst angle. Right here, this is the worst angle, and you can really hardly see what's going on, right? That's the worst angle because everything's in the hands. This is the right side angle covered by this hand, right? Right? Other than the fact that you can hear what's going on. And then this is the front angle. A little bit of a flash inside the hands there. Again, being fluid. Take a look. Pick one that you see. You've got it in your mind. I want you to think about it, okay? And then you flubbed it. Then you can go into your pass, okay? Tap on the table, do it in the hands. It's a pretty straightforward, easy pass to do that doesn't matter if it's seen, right? One thing you can do is do your pass and then do a shuffle that's irrelevant. For example, if I shuffle the top and drop back on top, then it looks like a cut. For that matter, just cut, right? Go ahead, see if you can see a card on there, right? And then you can just swing cut off at the break, and then you can shuffle on the top. Don't know what it is, turn it over. Go ahead, what was the card you were thinking of? Now remember, it could have been one of any 52. They've just called it out, and I'm glancing, and I catch the card, get it to the bottom, and then I go on from there. So ask for the card again, then you do your revelation after you then have control. So turning what in one sense would be a small opportunity into a guaranteed opportunity just by minimizing the bank and keeping control over it. You don't have to know what's there. You don't have to have it set up. You don't have to memorize anything. You don't have to have a preset situation. They can shuffle the cards and give them directly to you. You can show. You can have them think of a card that they see. Don't give a lot of time for them to kind of get their bearings on it. But right here, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. There are 7 cards in total that are in play. It's probably not going to be one closest to the ends. It's probably going to be one that's central. That's just probability, right? They see the card. They think about the card. You close the spread at the break. You can cut if you want to, and then do a shuffle on the top if you have a phobia for doing a pass, or you can do something like that Herman pass, square up. It's a nice easy one that you can get away with, where they can essentially burn the deck and they won't see anything there. So, or any other kind of pass you like. Some people have certain passes that they really are comfortable with. Whatever. Okay, but anyway, I think that's the last that we'll say on the series about the free choice, freely thinking choice from a shuffled deck. That's pretty much the end of what I have. So the remaining things to talk about in terms of free agency in Revelation really can come down to almost any kind of procedural force that you can think of. Can be free agency in Revelation. We've talked about some of the more direct ones, the ones that look a little bit more possible, discrepancy in top and bottom of the deck, particularly on the overhand shuffle, right? So if I'm forcing 2 of hearts, I can run and shuffle, and they say stop, and I can reveal that, right? I could also reveal the bottom card down here. I have a lot of options in terms of that. It's really just a different variation on the Hindu shuffle force. They say stop, and you can reveal this card. It originally was the bottom. Okay, these kinds of, I think, more fooling discrepancy forces are better. But again, almost any kind of procedural force that demonstrates the perception of free agency on part of the spectator can be a revelation of a what otherwise would be a freely thought of or freely named card. So that's pretty much all I have on this. So that coupled with all the other things, just a bank, limited bank of cards from the center of the deck, very naturally, showing it, right? Grab your break, cut the deck, shuffle, false, maintaining the bottom. You're thinking of the card. Go ahead, for the first time, go ahead, name what it is. Now remember, it could be one of any 52, right? I'm sorry, what was the card you were thinking of? I have control, right? Miscall, mishear, get it again. You're already in control and you're in a cleaner situation. So those are some tactics for you to think about that are very natural. You can use in a natural environment with a completely shuffled deck that seems like a thought of card and feels like it really does. When you do this kind of thing, you don't run that risk of someone saying, yeah, but you only showed me one card, right? Or you only showed me one card, I don't want that one. I think when you do the more natural bank, a spread like that, the perception is really that they could have thought of any card, right? I think the key with this is making sure that you are spreading those central cards enough that there's only a few. You don't want to have them all bunched up and stacked up. You want to have a spread like that. Again, right here I've got one that I can count. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. That's all there is that really are available to you. I close, I maintain that break, I do my cut or pass or whatever. I know that the bottom 6 cards is where my opportunity's at, and I can get that opportunity quite easily, okay, without having to raise suspicion by doing something like that. So anyway, yeah, turning small opportunity into a guarantee. Good luck with that. Happy magicking.